Welcome to the Human Advantage podcast, where culture is created, not claimed. We've been talking about culture for years, but most companies still reduce people to check boxes that are supposed to define an entire human being. We hire for familiarity, we reward sameness, and then wonder why teams struggle. The problem isn't talent, it's the system. And this podcast is about changing that. Diversity beyond checkboxes, culture add over culture fit, and how people think is the real differentiator. Because people aren't categories, they're the advantage.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Human Advantage podcast. I'm Devon Walker with my co-host Adam Kleckner, and today we're being joined by Roman Kruglov, an infrastructure and cybersecurity focused cloud security, zero trust, identity, AI strategy, and protecting enterprise systems in a world where risk is constantly changing. Roman's career started in help desk, where he learned that trust is earned one incident at a time. Today, he brings the same mindset to cybersecurity. We're helping companies think beyond the tools and dashboards and focus on the people, process, and decisions that actually keep the system secure. Roman and I originally connected through jiu-jitsu, so we're going to talk about the crossover between cybersecurity, leadership, and the lessons learned on the mats, staying calm under pressure, adapting in real time, and checking assumptions and building trust when things get uncomfortable. And wow, that is an intro, Roman. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
It's gonna need a breather after that one.
Yeah.
He said it in one breath.
Yeah,
I
pretty
mean,
good.
I tried. I was just like, oh, this is it. This is it. And I was like, you have done a lot in your career.
It's now 30 years in the industry.
Good for you.
It seems like a lot. It feels like a lot, but it also feels like a blink of an eye.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, when you hear 30 years, it's a lot. But, day to day, that's just you live in life.
Yeah.
And it's how it
It's
goes.
a blink of an eye. It's just, day to day, you don't feel it. But that experience accumulates, and just like in jiu-jitsu, you get the muscle memory. Certain things in technology security becomes just, you call them best practices. I call them muscle memory.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. Well, speaking of jiu-jitsu, because obviously we love it, it's the best. And we were chatting before this about getting Adam to join. But what originally pulled you into it?
So originally I started with MMA, actually. So kickboxing, not just
Interesting.
boxing. And once I started MMA just to try a different form of exercise from lifting. I was always just, going to the gym, lifting weights. I was always, more of a bodybuilder, whatever you want to call it. And then I decided to try MMA as I was starting getting older, and just, I don't know, bodybuilding was getting boring. And that's what got me into MMA. After I tried my first couple of trial classes, I got hooked. Couple of years down the line, when you get advanced enough and you start actually live sparring, and you sparring with somebody half your age, even if you have full gear and you get that round kick to your head and then have to go to the office,
Yeah,
it got tough. It got
it's a rough
tough.
next day.
Won't
Yeah.
lie. So, it just like, I also caught myself enjoying jiu-jitsu more. Just like the ability to solve those puzzles, just that grind more so than just punches. So I eventually transitioned to jiu-jitsu only from MMA.
Nice. I think it's funny, man. That was Devon's story too. Went from powerlifting into jiu-jitsu. I think a lot of us, as we get older, the bodies break down, and you go, "Can I need something that's a little friendlier on the body?" But
I
it
don't know
is
if I'm
funny.
friendly on the body now, 10 years down the line, but
Yeah, true. I think you touched on something though that's interesting that I don't think a lot of people correlate, which is the problem solving in jiu-jitsu, right? Which is the mental aspect of it. I think people see, the violent aspect of it or the wrestling aspect of it, but it's really just it's problem solving and puzzle solving in real time.
Yeah. it is. It's trying the same thing 100 times, and maybe on one at first, you figure out how not to move that way.
For sure. For sure. All right, I'm going to pivot us. We'll get back to the bro talk. I promise you to. I know we'll get back to jiu-jitsu, but I do want to touch on, because I think this is an interesting piece of your career where you started in help desk, and then kind of grew into infrastructure, grew into the security side, the AI. Obviously, everything's AI security. We can't talk tech without talking AI these days. But what has that kind of journey from going from help desk into infrastructure, into AI, into enterprise architecture? What's that kind of journey taught you about trust and security and where it's going these days?
Trust starts with people. So the thing you learn in help desk is at the end of the day, you can have all the best tools, all the best software, hardware, whether it's Mac, PCs, none of it matters.
Yeah.
None of it matters because if you are working with people, and I'm talking about you know, high level executives, let's say you take financial industry, brokers, mutual funds, commercial real estate, people who make $10 million transactions on a daily basis. They don't care what software they have. They don't care what help desk software you have. They don't care what security you have in place. They don't care to call help desk. They will find that one person who helped them and they will keep going back to that person. That's your trust because
Yeah.
you established that trust. One of the people that I worked with in commercial real estate, um, many years ago, probably 20 years at this point altogether. I mean, I worked there for 15 years and then transition. There's one broker who's moved on from there who still calls me for support outside of the company, like personal items and everything else. So that's your trust.
Gotcha. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I guess the big question is because, like, let's take like the broker, the finance, you know, the stereotypical very type A kind of people. They don't care about technology. We kind of have to, in some respects. I guess what is the balance between technology, people, and process? Like, where it sounds like people are the most important, but like, what does that actually look like in like a real world practice?
It's a gray line. It's not white and black. It's gray. You walk the fine line between, yes, you need to help the person, but you still need to maintain company security, company policies, companies rules and whatnot. So sometimes it's on you to not tell the person, oh no, you have to open a ticket or you have to do this and this and this. No, you do it. You take care of whatever the policies, the rules, the behind the scenes. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to ignore them. You just don't need to make it visible or obvious or, you know, make it frustrating for the end user. Because at the end of the day, no matter what business or company you work for, the company is nothing without its people.
Yeah.
And by people, it's everybody, anybody from the mailroom to an executive assistant to people who actually like salespeople who are making money and selling whatever the product the company is making. Company is nothing without its people. So if you can make somebody's job easier, this is how way you have the company culture. It's not about free lunch or fancy office or whatever it may be, or free car rides, dinners. At the end of the day, it's when you're able to help the person make their job easier. Because then they turn around and they make the money for the company, and then the company is doing well, everybody's doing well, hopefully.
Yeah, well, it frees them up to do what they're good at, right? So if you could take more things off their plate, it frees them up to do what their strengths are. Obviously, we call this podcast the Human Advantage Podcast, so I think there's a lot of good through line on the people side of things here. I think some people though, when they hear the term cybersecurity, they think it's mostly technical, right? Everything goes to
Yes.
technical warfare, technical this, not
It's
realizing
changing.
typical. Yeah, not realizing, most of those cybersecurity breaks come from the human clicking the phishing email or the human clicking the wrong link or being susceptible to it. So I'd love to get your perspective on kind of where the human side shows up most in cybersecurity.
It's back to trust. Because we're trying to automate so much, we are automating ourselves out of common sense.
That's so true, man. It's
We
so
are,
true.
we are automating
So
ourselves out of
true.
common sense.
Yeah.
People are doing 10 times more than what they used to do, let's say 10 years ago. because you can automate, because you can use AI to speed up things. But by speeding up things, you're not freeing up your time. By automating things, you end up doing more.
Yeah.
It's a human nature, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just, when people say we're going to use AI or automation to free you up, it frees you up to do more.
Right.
You just
Right.
but by doing more, your brain can only process so much. So when those cyber attacks happen, and most cyber attacks in recent years, I haven't been because somebody didn't patch some vulnerability or left a port open. Most cyber attacks that's worth talking about, that's millions of people affected, millions of dollars involved, all had one thing in common: human element. They got to somebody's username and password because somebody clicked on the wrong link, or they got to a support person who was extra tired and overloaded and asked to reset a password. It was just social engineering. They explored the trust. So,
Yeah,
and
I think
that happens because people are just overloading, and people don't have time to react. So when you try to automate or speed up things, you're trying to make common sense decisions 10 times faster. So sometimes you just click yes.
I love the line that we've automated our way out of common sense. I think we've also automated our way out of creativity sometimes too. I think you lose that when you automate both sides. When everything becomes
Sometimes,
automated.
yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. It depends on the person. Some people can explore more things with AI now, because things that would take you forever, like I'm not a developer, as an example. Never
Right.
written a line of code. But now with AI, I can explore my creativity by creating small little apps.
True. Very
Just
true.
just for the hell of it. I'm not trying to make money or start a business or write the next, multi-million dollar application. Just as a test. Something I was never able to do before. So that's your creativity that's put to good use.
That's fair. For
Yeah.
sure.
I think a lot of companies really go, I think with like a lot of the creativity, they can push it to some of the extremes. And I'm like, I think in any aspect of anything, going extremely in any direction tends to be a bad idea. But like, code, was it Coinbase? They got rid of 70% of the engineers, and their non-technical people are writing a lot of the in production code now. So I'm not going to say that's good or bad, but I'm going to say that's an extreme when it comes to the creative side.
That is an extreme. And
Yeah,
eventually catch up to them probably. Time will
probably.
tell, but at
Time
some
will tell.
yeah, time.
um, yeah, I'm going to say I'm not technical enough to give a real answer, but I think a lot of people have assumptions.
Nobody has an answer. We don't
Yeah,
know enough. It's such a fast moving, evolving thing that there is no answer yet.
yeah.
Nobody
Well,
you predict, but it's like being, predicting weather. You just don't know what's going to happen.
yeah. Well, here's a question. Like, let's say I'm a leader, and obviously I don't want to go to an extreme, but where should I start in security to keep the trust of my team, but still pushing forward with insert new tool, insert new idea? I default have to say AI because there are a lot of AI security companies. Like, where do I push things forward to stay progressive?
It's not about pushing forward. It's about starting with basics and not building a house of cards, essentially. Start with identity. Start with your basics. I mean, are you doing properly onboarding and offboarding your employees? Nothing to do with security. I mean, if we're talking about most companies, let's say they're not in a cloud, they're still running Active Directory. When was the last time you reviewed your active or inactive service accounts or users? Um, how many domain admins you have? If you're in a cloud, how many cloud admins do you have? How often do you like basics that before you even get to like high level cybersecurity? I think everybody in cybersecurity are all concentrating on the new tools, AI, this, SSPM, CSPM, DSPM, and all of the above, all those EDR, XDR, but they forget about the basics of, hey, we have 10 domain admins, and two of them have left the company 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I will never remove. So yeah, you have XDR, CSPM, Microsoft Defender for everything, and you still have 5 admins that are no longer here. So to me,
It's
it's
so
always
simple, but happens so
you're
often.
building a security on top of house of cards, essentially. The foundation matters more than any new tool in cybersecurity or any new regulation or any CVE or any of those patching and everything else. Start with the most basic thing. Build a
Yeah.
solid foundation before you, again, back to common sense.
Yeah, I think that's so important, man, and it's so important not just in cybersecurity, but in everything companies do, right? It boils down to the systems, and it boils down to the fundamentals of what are you building the foundation of your company off of. But I think touching on, your point there where there's a tool for everything. There's a new tool for cybersecurity, there's a new tool for this, for that. Obviously AI is now the new buzzword, the new tool. And I've seen you talk a little bit about AI and the dangers of trusting its output too quickly. So what concerns you the most right now about how companies are adopting AI?
Companies are adopting AI, I think, without knowing why. People are jumping
Yeah.
on the bandwagon or the train per se, without actual goal in mind.
Yep. Yep.
What are they trying to accomplish? And AI is also, everybody says AI, but AI is like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about LLM, SLM? Are we talking about machine language? Are we talking about agents? Everybody just kind of lumps it all together. There is so much more than just that one thing. Large language models are running in the cloud because nobody will have enough hardware to run it locally. If you're running a small language model that's secluded on a server, then you're not exposing anything to the internet and you have better secure. So it's such a big field that it's to say that, oh, when a company say, yeah, we started running AI and people assume you don't know what you're doing or you do know what you're doing. We don't even know if they're talking about LLM, SLM, what are they running?
Yeah. I
You're
literally
running
talked to a
SLM, it's contained within your own machine, your own server, and it's locked behind a firewall.
yeah.
Is one thing. You do LLM and doing API calls across the web. That's a whole other big scenario. So it's just we need to start putting, I guess, not labels but definitions, because we can just say AI and expect people to. There are too many
It's
assumptions being made.
It's
Yeah.
happening all the time, man. I talked to a leader. He was a tech leader, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago, and he said that the CEO came to him with a budget and was like, "Hey, we've got a $5 million budget for AI. Figure it out." It's like, "Cool. Well, okay. Well, what does that mean? Like, AI
Exactly.
Yeah.
for
What
what? Like, it
what
could be a
do you
million
want?
different things,
What do you want to do? Because you can
right?"
blow $1 million on tokens in a matter of a couple of months.
Exactly. And it's happening. We've seen that happen. I saw that story, company spent 500 millions on tokens in like 7 months when it was supposed to last, 18 months. Like, what did we even accomplish? Right? Like, what did we even do with this?
Because we started with just playing, not and there's nothing wrong with playing. It's just, but you need to have some kind of goal in mind.
Right.
Like, you want to talk about personal agents like OpenClaw or any of those type. There was a big commotion. Everybody jumped on it.
Yeah.
Do you need to automate something in your life? Like, I mean, I have an OpenClaw type. I'm agent, not OpenClaw. I'm running Hermes agent. But it's after playing with it for like 2 months, I'm like, but I don't really need it.
Right.
That's
I
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I can do all those. Yes, I can have it check my email and give me a summary, but why? I'm gonna look at my email anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
You got to read respond. Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
get 1,000 emails that I can't read through that I need a summary.
Right.
No, I get 10 emails and I'm okay looking through it myself. Like, I don't need it. It can email you your podcasts or newscasts or anything else again. But I want to go and read. I don't need a summary. I want to read the articles.
For
So
sure.
I see a lot of potential, but at the same time, like at least in my case, I don't need it. So I don't want to do it just for the sake of it. And a lot of people and companies right now are doing it for the sake of it and say, "Oh yeah, we're using agentic AI to do the same thing that human is doing in 5 minutes anyway."
100%.
So you're not saving anything and yet you're spending money and you're automating things that don't need to be automated.
I think the big thing about like automating everything is that when you score it against a KPI, it says, "Oh, I automated these 10 things." Well, 9 of them you didn't need to automate, but it sounds good when you say you automated the 10.
Yes.
Uh, yeah. You
That's
know,
yeah. I can talk to my agent through the phone anywhere in the world because it's sitting. It's running locally on my Mac Mini at home. Can be at work, and I can give it a task. Hey, I need you to research this or go find me this, and it will go and do things. Yes, it's cool that you can do this. It's really cool. But do I really need it?
Right.
yeah,
And that's the thing with a lot of companies on the same level. Yes, they're creating agents, but do they really need them? Is it
Yeah,
actually
that's fair.
solving the problem?
yeah. I do admittedly selfishly want to change up this topic a little bit. Not that I don't like talking about AI, but I prefer talking about jiu-jitsu because it's way better. Um, um, so I love asking this, but what do you think the correlation is between like jiu-jitsu and either leadership or security? Because at least in recruiting in my world, I see a lot of transferable skills, but I want to see what those skills are for you.
So staying calm, showing up. That's the transfer. So sometimes people get stressed at work, and I do too. I fall down the rabbit holes, and you get stressed because everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. But being able to move on and deal with it and just show up day in and day out and just slowly grind, that's, I think, a good translation.
Yeah,
I
Staying
like
calm in the
that one.
meeting when some executive is stressed out and, oh, this is a priority and we need this right away, you know, not giving in to their stress and just saying, okay, we'll take a look, staying, that calmness you learn through jujitsu because when you have somebody twice your size trying to choke you out, somehow the stressed executives is not a big deal.
Yeah. That is a good point, man. It's funny, we just released an episode, I don't know, a week or 2 ago with a lot of people didn't realize, but in our former life, Devon and I used to own gyms and run gyms and, train high level athletes, and we had one of our Olympic long jumpers on. And I think there's so many correlations between sport and the workplace, right? And it doesn't have to come from an Olympic athlete. It doesn't have to come from high level athletes. I think lots of times it's just those hobbies, those little things that we can pull from that we do outside of work that translate into how we show up at work. And I think for me, one thing I see in both cybersecurity and jujitsu is the ability and the need to adapt in real time, right? Okay, something's not working, let's pivot. Something, this move wasn't working on this guy, let's pivot to this move. Let's transition quickly. And it's all about that flow of transitioning and adapting in real time.
Keep
So
learning.
how do you
You
yeah,
keep
yeah.
learning.
So how do you train yourself to respond instead of react?
After a while, just like with jujitsu, it becomes muscle memory. So I don't
Yeah.
react, I respond just between being in the industry for so long and also between the jujitsu giving you the confidence, it becomes muscle memory. You get used to not get stressed, but you don't react to somebody being upset. You just
Yeah.
take it calmly and continue on.
I think too,
It's
one
a
thing
muscle
we
memory.
we talked about, it had nothing to do with sport. It was a guest we had on who used to be in bands, right? And he wrote a book called The Soundtrack of Leadership, which talks about kind of forming a band and how that translates into leadership in the workplace. But one thing that we kind of brushed over in that episode that I found fascinating was practice, right? Nobody talks about having to practice in the workplace. And just like in jujitsu, you don't learn that move in one day, right? You have to drill and you drill it and you drill it until, to your point, it becomes that muscle memory. I don't think we talk about that in the workplace enough, that like your team's not just going to mesh in one day. Like it takes repetitive practice and it takes intentional practice. And I think that's the same with cybersecurity. Vulnerabilities don't just get fixed in one day. Like you said, it starts from the foundation and drilling and practice. And so I think translating that mindset of drilling skills and drilling tools in jujitsu could be very applicable to having to practice those things until they become muscle memory in the workforce.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is muscle memory working together because when the actual incident happens, it's not going to be any kind of procedures you have written up or documentation or tools. It's going to be people's muscle memory, and muscle memory, not just, okay, we need to shut off this server or turn on that switch. It's going to be muscle memory of people working together.
Yeah, 100%.
Again, it comes back to people and trust. It's not, oh, I'm, going through the document and going step by step. I need to do this because things change and you need to be able to pivot, and you can't do that without the right team by your side or people you
Yeah.
trust working. In jiu-jitsu, you develop trust in your teammates because they hold your life in their hands.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
have to,
And
Yeah.
right?
it's
Literally. Yeah.
not to exaggerate things, but if you don't let go of the submission, you can either break bones or chop somebody to death.
Yeah.
Developing that trust in your team, whether it's in help desk or in security, when you're troubleshooting an incident, it's developing that human trust between people to work together.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
I think,
no
you
amount
know,
of tools or documentation can create that.
yeah. But I mean, I think part of that's time. I think part of it is also accepting that like shit's gonna hit the fan eventually, if that be in jiu-jitsu, if that be in security. And I think you kinda have to like accept that. I mean, I think those are the times in which you like really build trust with people is when things don't go right. And then, some of it's like experience or just knowing what to do with the process, you can lean on it. But I think those are the times that the trust is really built. Not through like oh, hey, we don't have any instances, or like, hey, we haven't had any attacks, XYZ. Um, I guess the big thing, because you're a leader, you know, how do you build that trust or that team culture? You know, I don't want to say you're just gonna wait until something bad happens, but there has to be a way in which you build trust within your team.
It's working with the team. It's not just like, so being a manager to me, and between being a manager in when I used to be in help desk, service desk, now infrastructure and cloud engineering, cybersecurity. It's never been about, hey, delegating a task, go do this, go do that, go do. It's following up with people and doing it together sometimes. Something needs to be done. It's an emergency that's being escalated from the top. It's not just, okay, here, you go do it. No, let's go do it together. It's showing up when matters. It's also pushing back when matters to protect your team, even if it means pissing somebody off. It's it's saying, no, we can't do this right now because you told us we need to do this first. We can't shift, just because somebody's screaming. So I mean, I don't know, it's not muscle memory. It's everybody has different management styles, everything. It's to me, deriving from jujitsu, it's about more of a mentorship of showing how to do things, or showing how I would do things, and then hopefully people appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, man. The teamwork aspect of it's so important. But one thing I love about sport in general, and this applies to jujitsu and a bunch of other sports, is it can expose you very quickly, right?
Yeah,
And like I
that's
said,
one
with
line.
that, yeah, with that long jumper, we were talking about, man, you spend 4 years training for 3 jumps, right? If you didn't put in that training, you didn't put in the work, like you're getting exposed real quick when it comes to competition. And same with jujitsu. If you're not drilling, if you're not practicing, if you're not putting in the work, you're gonna get exposed real quick. You can't fake it for very long in jujitsu, right? And I think that idea kind of shows up in leadership and in team culture where, to your point earlier, like culture is not about free lunches and a vending machine in the office and whatever. Like those are band-aids over a foundation of culture. And so I think companies can claim culture and can claim that they have, they've built this culture of trust and et cetera. But in reality, you can only fake that for so long. So how do
Usually,
those
companies claiming it are the ones who don't have it.
that's
So
100%.
true.
It's a hundred
So
percent. The ones that claim it don't have the systems that actually represent it, right? So how
You
does
don't
that
need a
idea
system. It shouldn't be a system. That's
that
the thing. It's if when they claim that we have a system, that just means they're putting a workarounds and putting lipstick on a
yeah,
pig.
yeah.
It's not a
Uh,
system. It's not something you create. It's not a start every meeting with saying nice things about your coworker, and
Right.
that can be
Right.
forced. It's either in place and it starts from the top because the management shows up for their employees and that doesn't just delegate. So
Yeah.
it's human. It's nothing to do with type of business or type of management. It's about staying human. Just like when we step on the mats, I may be fighting with a police officer, or maybe fighting with a broker who's making $10 million a year. I have no idea. We show up and we're putting in the work the same way. Then we go on and we do what our responsibilities are according to what our status is or whatnot. Same thing at work. When something happens, everybody has to show up regardless of titles. They don't matter. And that's how you create that environment.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's spot on, man. All right. So one thing we like to do here at the end of every episode, which is always challenging for Devin and I, because we don't. This
We
is one
don't
of the do's we say, not as we do type of situations. But
try to
we'll
leave
do.
it to one word or one phrase. I think
Yeah,
one sentence is a realistic ask.
we call it a little lightning round. So, what is one AI assumption that you think leaders should rethink?
It's what I mentioned earlier that AI is this one thing. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
we need to define what AI is. We shouldn't say AI and then assume it's everything because
Everything.
agent is not the same as SLM, as LLM, as machine learning, and there's so many other different types of AI.
Yeah, 100%.
That
What's
assumption
one
go away.
Yeah, I agree completely. What's one jujitsu practice or lesson that applies to work?
Just keep on coming. Just keep showing up.
I love that. That's one thing I love about jujitsu is to earn the belt, to earn the next tier. It's not just handed out freely, right? You've got to show up. You've got to put in the work. It takes
Takes a long
years.
time.
Yeah, it
Yes.
takes
You just
years to
you
do
have to keep
that.
showing up.
Yeah, that's I love that. That to me, that's one of my favorite things about the jujitsu culture is you have to show up and you've got to be there and you've got to put in the grind to move up. So yeah, I think that's a great one. What is one underrated leadership trait?
Not being a leader.
Good
Be a
one. Yeah,
mentor.
it's
Be a
fair.
mentor.
Yeah,
Don't be a leader. There's
yeah, I love that.
too many managers, not enough mentors.
Yeah, that's a great one. All right, and then we'll touch on one last kind of cybersecurity one. So, what's one workplace habit that creates unnecessary risk?
Probably ignoring the basics.
Yeah, the foundation piece. That's huge.
Foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then our final question that we like to look at because we believe people are so much more than what's on their resume and there's so much more to people with how they show up to work that impacts it, like your guys' jujitsu. So what's one thing that is essential to who you are and how you show up in the workplace that would never show up on your resume?
Being there, just even if I don't know something, I'm always happy to get involved and
Yeah,
try to help, regardless if it's my area of expertise or could be completely something I know nothing about. I'm always happy to jump on a call and try to offer my 2 cents, whether it will help or not, but just to go through process of elimination and be that, I don't know, voice of reason or just somebody else to bounce ideas off, even if I know nothing about a subject.
I love that.
That's
I
great.
love it. Awesome, buddy. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you doing this. A super fun conversation, and I think one that hopefully people take away. I think the big correlation for me is how much what we do outside of work and our hobbies and what we enjoy to do that we actually translate into work. And I think that's something that people should think about of what do they love doing outside of work? What are the things that make them who they are and how they can tie that into the workplace. So I think there's a lot of awesome takeaways from this one, man. So we appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
Happy to. It was a fun conversation.
Yeah. Or the takeaway is you should just start doing jiu-jitsu, which is
That
also
too,
a perfect
yes.
fine.
I tell this to everybody.
It's start training. Start
Start,
training.
Yep.
And then if anybody have questions on this episode or any of the other ones, just reach out to us, info@thelinkTech.com. And then, Roman, I know you mentioned your website. Why don't you go ahead and let everybody know how to find your web? We'll
It's
link it.
just
We'll link
my
your
name. It's romankruglov.me.
okay, .me. Okay, love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Simple. Making it
Everybody
easy.
check him out too. So awesome. All right, man. Well, till the next one, we appreciate it, and we'll see everybody on the next episode.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.